The Dedham of the past was a world away from the one Molly had left behind. It was the same town, yes, but the people, the atmosphere, the era, everything was different. The bustling streets, the lively markets, the laughter and chatter of people, it was all so beautifully ordinary, untouched by the horrors of the future. Yet there was an undercurrent of tension, a shadow lurking in the corners, a sense of impending doom that Molly couldn't shake off. Among the common folk going about their daily routines, Molly saw him for the first time, the red-eyed demon. He was not as she had expected, no grotesque creature of nightmares, but rather a charming figure that moved among the people like a respected elder. It was this veneer of normalcy that made him all the more sinister. His eyes glowed an eerie red, not constantly, but every now and then, when he believed no one was watching. But Molly was. She followed him through the market square, watching him interact with the townsfolk. He was cunning, she realized, and manipulative, using his charm and eloquence to twist the minds of the people subtly. She could see the allure, how the Sisters of Earth could have fallen for his deception. He spoke of unity, of prosperity, of a shared power that would elevate the town of Dedham to never-before-seen heights. And at the heart of it all, he placed the Sisters of Earth. The Sisters, the same spectral figures that she had known in the future, were here young and full of life. They were revered by the townsfolk, respected for their powers, and loved for their kindness. To see them in such a light, it was almost heartbreaking for Molly, knowing the fate that awaited them. As the red-eyed demon continued to weave his web of lies, Molly knew that she had to intervene. She couldn't let the history repeat itself, not if she could help it. The sisters were innocent, manipulated by the demon into unknowingly feeding off the life energy of the people they loved and protected. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the picturesque town, the demon finally retreated, leaving a sense of unease in his wake. Molly was left with a sense of urgency. The demon's power was growing and time was running out. The red eyes that haunted her dreams were now a horrifying reality, and Molly knew that she had to act fast. The battle had just begun. With the passing of each day in the Dedham of the past, Molly came to understand the depth of the deception. She observed the Sisters of Earth, youthful and lively, their hearts filled with the innocent desire to help their community. They carried their magical abilities with grace and humility, unaware of the true source and the cost of their powers. The red-eyed demon, cunning and manipulative, had deceived the sisters into believing that the powers they wielded were gifts from the heavens, meant to bring prosperity to Dedham. He spun tales of their divine destiny, binding them to the town's fate, and subtly guiding their actions towards his wicked designs. Each day, Molly watched as the sisters used their powers to help their townsfolk, healing the sick, ensuring good crops, maintaining harmony. Each act of kindness, however, unknowingly siphoned the life energy of the people, feeding the demon and strengthening his grasp over the town. It was a tragic irony, the caregivers of the town unwittingly contributing to its downfall. Every night, Molly would see the demon retreat to the outskirts of the town, where the energy gathered throughout the day took a tangible form, a dark, swirling mass of pure power. The demon bathed in this energy, his red eyes gleaming brighter with each passing day. The townsfolk began to notice their declining health and vitality, attributing it to everything from bad weather to God's wrath. The fear and uncertainty spread like wildfire, sparking chaos and suspicion among the people who had once lived in harmony. This growing discord was exactly what the demon had planned, his deception working flawlessly. Molly, however, was not deceived. She was the anomaly in the demon's perfectly spun web of lies. She knew his secret, understood his strategy, and she was determined to save the sisters and Dedham from the impending doom. However, revealing the truth was a delicate task. It risked causing more chaos and could even put the sisters in harm's way. Molly needed a plan, a strategy as cunning as the demons, to expose the deception and save the Sisters of Earth and their beloved town. Armed with the knowledge of the present and the past, Molly knew she had to tread carefully. The Sisters of Earth were unwitting pawns in the demon's scheme, and the townsfolk were victims of their well-intentioned but harmful magic. Molly realized that she could not outright reveal the truth. Not yet, not without causing panic and furthering the demon's plans. Instead, Molly began to subtly influence the townsfolk, sparking their critical thinking and sowing the seeds of doubt. She mingled with them, befriended them, shared stories, and listened to theirs. Using her knowledge of the future, she wove tales of other towns that had experienced similar misfortunes, of similar demons and their deceptions, carefully veiling them as fables and legends. She nudged them towards questioning the source of their malaise, hinting at a connection between their declining health and the increased use of magic in their everyday life. The seeds of doubt began to take root in the minds of the townsfolk. Whispers of Molly's stories spread through the town, tales of malevolent spirits and deceptive entities. They started to notice the correlations, the illnesses becoming more prominent after the sisters had used their magic, their energy levels dropping despite the plentiful crops. However, these suspicions did not immediately turn into accusations against the sisters. They were well respected, loved, and seen as the town's benefactors. The idea that they could be the source of their suffering was difficult for the townsfolk to accept. The seeds of doubt, however, were sown, and with time they began to grow, fed by the growing evidence and the continued decline in the townsfolk's health. Throughout this, Molly had to be cautious, aware of the red-eyed demon's watchful gaze. She could not risk being exposed before she had the chance to save the sisters and the town. Yet, with every passing day, as the whispers grew louder and the suspicion more widespread, Molly knew that it was only a matter of time before the truth came to light, and the battle against the red-eyed demon would truly begin. Molly's words had worked their way through the town's grapevine, stirring unrest and suspicion. But as the seed of doubt began to sprout, so did the demon's impatience. He knew his plans were at risk, and he was determined to hasten his ascension. As a result, he became less cautious, his manipulation more overt. He pushed the Sisters of Earth to perform grander displays of their powers, siphoning off more life energy from the unsuspecting townsfolk than ever before. The health of the townsfolk declined rapidly. Once vibrant faces now looked pale and drawn. The young lost their vigor, the old became frail, and the children lacked their usual energy. Dedham, once a thriving community, was slowly turning into a ghost town, its life force draining away with every passing day. In the midst of this unfolding chaos, the Sisters of Earth, still oblivious to the root cause of the town's plight, worked tirelessly, using their powers to try and cure the inexplicable illnesses. But the more they used their magic, the worse the townsfolk's health became, a vicious cycle that was feeding the demon and bringing him closer to his goal. This growing chaos served Molly's purpose. She saw the confusion, the fear, and the anger growing amongst the townsfolk. People who had once revered the sisters were now casting doubtful glances their way. Molly knew that the right time to reveal the truth was drawing near, but she also knew the repercussions could be dire. The Sisters of Earth were loved, but fear and anger could turn love into hatred in a heartbeat. Despite the impending storm, Molly couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. The chaos was necessary, a step towards liberation from the demon's clutches. As the sun set on another tumultuous day, Molly felt a sense of grim determination. She was ready to face whatever the next day would bring, prepared to take the next step in her plan to save the sisters and the town of Dedham. For several nights, Molly had been planning her confrontation with the red-eyed demon. She had gathered all the knowledge she could, observed his patterns, and understood his strengths and weaknesses. But nothing could have prepared her for the sudden appearance of the sheriff from her time. With the night as her backdrop, Molly approached the demon's hideaway at the outskirts of the town, her heart pounding with anticipation. As she neared, time seemed to slow down, and then, suddenly, it stopped. Everything froze. A still tableau of the world that was completely alien. And there, in the midst of the eerily quiet night, stood the sheriff. "I'm the Watcher," he announced, his voice echoing in the unnatural silence. His declaration hung in the frozen air, bringing an additional layer of complexity to Molly's mission. He was there to protect the timeline, to ensure that the past remained as it should. "Your actions could alter the course of history," he warned Molly. "You must let events play out as they should. However, I can send the sisters to the future with you. One of them, though, must be sacrificed for the people." His words hit Molly like a punch to the gut. Sacrifice one of the sisters? The idea was unthinkable, horrifying. And yet, she knew it was the only way to save the town, to break the cycle of the demon's power. "And you must steal the red-eyed demon's power," the sheriff continued. "Stop his ability to manipulate. Put an end to his control over the sisters and the town." His words echoed in Molly's head, her mind a whirlpool of thoughts. She had to alter her plan, and she had to act fast. The sheriff, the Watcher, had given her a task, a new direction, a spark of hope amidst the darkness. It was up to her now to confront the demon, to steal his power, to save the sisters and the town. As time resumed its normal course, the sheriff disappeared, leaving Molly alone with her daunting task. The confrontation was inevitable, the stakes higher than ever before. With newfound resolve, Molly continued towards the demon's hideaway, ready to face the heart of darkness. The confrontation was about to begin. Under the blanket of darkness that had enveloped the town of Dedham, a battle unlike any other was underway. The once tranquil council house had transformed into a battleground where the fate of the town was being decided. The Sisters of Earth, guided by Molly, were waging a war against their unseen enemy, the red-eyed demon. With the harsh reality of their manipulation now revealed, the sisters were filled with a burning desire to right the wrongs that had been done under their name. Mary, the eldest among them, had bravely chosen to offer her life in return for the safety of her sisters and the town they loved so dearly. However, unbeknownst to them all, Ruth, the youngest of the sisters, had overheard their plan. Her heart heavy with the thought of losing Mary, she took it upon herself to protect her family. The fiery determination in her eyes outshone any fear that lurked within her. Her voice echoed through the room, filled with a courage beyond her years. "I'll face the demon," she proclaimed. "I will take his power and seal them within me." The room fell into an unnerving silence, broken only by the soft rustle of the wind outside. Ruth's announcement had stunned them all. Their eyes reflected admiration and fear, for they knew the magnitude of the task Ruth had willingly taken upon herself. The showdown with the red-eyed demon was imminent. Ruth, her spirit unbowed, boldly declared, "I'm taking your power to hell with me." Her defiant yell pierced the suffocating quietness. The demon, taken aback, momentarily lost its threatening demeanor. Shrouded in shadows, it morphed into the figure of a woman, her red eyes burning with an infernal light. Yet Ruth didn't flinch. Her resolution didn't waver even in the face of such malevolence. She stood her ground, bracing herself for the monumental struggle that lay ahead. The unseen battle had turned a new page, the stakes higher than ever before. The silent council house echoed with the pounding heartbeats of those within, as the true fight was about to commence. As the dawn was about to break, the council house was cloaked in an eerie quietude. The fiery clash that was expected to ensue had taken an unexpected turn. Ruth, filled with a solemn determination, chose to meet her fate head-on. But before she gave herself over to the townsfolk, she requested a final meeting with Molly. In the dim light of the early morning, Molly met Ruth for one last time. There was an undeniable air of sadness, but Ruth's face was serene, accepting. She asked Molly for her iPhone, instructing her to record a message. It was to be played for her sisters once they reached the future. As the recording started, Ruth's calm voice filled the silence, her words a blend of hope, love, and farewell. It was a message of resilience, of continuing their fight and keeping their sisterhood alive. Once the message was recorded, Ruth took a deep breath, a soft smile gracing her lips. She hugged Molly and thanked her for all her help. Then she walked out of the door, heading towards her destiny. The sisters watched from the council house as Ruth gave herself up to the townsfolk. Their faces were painted with terror and disbelief, the crowd howling with blind rage. The scene was heartbreaking. Ruth was accused of witchcraft, of heinous acts she never committed. And then the unthinkable happened. Ruth was stoned. The sisters could hear the thud of the stones, could see her flinch but never break. It was brutal, but she bore it all with an unnatural calm. And then they set her on fire. The sisters watched in horror as the flames swallowed her, their screams of despair drowned by the cheers of the mob. The fire raged on, painting the break of dawn with a deadly hue. All they could do was cry, their tears hidden by the rain that began to pour. It was a scene that would be engraved in their hearts forever. Their sister was gone, her sacrifice a painful reminder of the cruel world they lived in. The fiery accusation had taken their sister away, leaving them with the burden of their loss and a message filled with hope for a better future. In the face of unparalleled brutality, an unexpected miracle unfolded before the people of Dedham. The woman, who they had condemned as a witch, now transformed before their eyes, a beacon of hope rising from the flames. Ruth, burning brightly under the morning sun, began to change. Her body, engulfed by the flames, did not crumble, did not fall. Instead, it The people, previously howling with rage, now stood dumbstruck, their faces reflecting their astonishment and guilt. Every ailment, every pain that had been afflicting the townsfolk began to ebb away. The sick were healed, the weak were strengthened, and the desolate found solace. Ruth, their supposed enemy, was their savior. And in that moment, the town of Dedham, rife with fear and hostility just a moment ago, was washed with an overwhelming sense of peace and tranquility. Unseen in the crowd, the red-eyed demon watched this transformation with narrowed eyes, its malicious intentions thwarted. The powers it had possessed were now draining away, flowing towards Molly. Ruth's sacrifice had not just saved her sisters in the town. It had also stripped the demon of its malicious strength, thereby shifting the balance of power. It was a moment of triumph and sorrow, a testament to Ruth's unyielding spirit. In the silence of the council house, Molly and the sisters gathered once more. Their hearts were heavy with loss, but they had a task at hand. Molly took out her iPhone, the screen flickering to life with Ruth's face. They were about to listen to her final words, the message she had left for them before she walked into the arms of her fate. As Ruth's voice echoed through the room, her words brought tears to their eyes. She explained her actions, her willingness to sacrifice herself. The truth that she had been holding back from them for the past 6 months was finally revealed. She was dying. Ruth had been living on borrowed time, and she didn't want her sisters to spend their last moments together in worry and sadness. Their tears fell freely as they listened, their hearts aching at the painful revelation. Ruth had known about her impending death, and she had chosen to use it as a way to save them all, to secure a future for her sisters and the town they all loved. In her final words, Ruth addressed Molly directly. She told her that she was entrusting her with the power she had taken from the demon. It was a power that could change everything, that could tilt the scales in their favor. Then, with a serene smile on her face, Ruth bade them all goodbye. The room was silent when the recording ended. The only sound was their quiet sobs. Suddenly, Molly felt a warmth spreading through her, a feeling of comfort and familiarity. She knew it instantly. It was Ruth. Her spirit had merged with Molly, staying true to her promise. Even in death, Ruth was still with them. She had left her body, but she lived on within Molly, her spirit an unending source of strength and hope. It was a twist in time, a bending of the usual laws, but it was a change that held the promise of a better tomorrow. In the quiet town of Dedham, a new chapter was about to unfold. Molly, imbued with the spirit and power of Ruth, was to meet the sheriff at his office. The demon's plan to double its power had failed, leaving one of its halves powerless and stuck in the past. The remaining half had succeeded in going to the future, where it planned to merge with its future self and double its strength. The sheriff was a man with many secrets. He was a watcher, tasked with preserving the timeline, and he had the ability to manipulate time. As Molly walked into his office, he was standing by a swirling portal, its ethereal light casting dancing shadows around the room. He turned to her, his eyes reflecting the portal's eerie glow. "It's time, Molly," he said, his voice barely more than a whisper. He was about to open a door to the future, to send the Sisters of Earth to join their kin, the Sisters of the Fang. With a final look at the past they were leaving behind, Molly and the Sisters of Earth stepped through the portal. They left behind a town that had known fear and violence, but had also witnessed a miracle. They left behind the memory of Ruth, whose spirit continued to live on within Molly. They left behind the half of the red-eyed demon, its powers significantly diminished. As they emerged on the other side, they found themselves in the future. They were now with the Sisters of the Fang, the reunion bittersweet in the light of recent events. Yet they knew they had to be strong. The red-eyed demon, now in the future, was seeking to merge with its future self and double its power. As they braced themselves for the battles to come, Molly felt a surge of determination. Ruth's spirit within her was unyielding. The power she had inherited from the demon was immense. The story was far from over. This was just the beginning, a twist of fate that had set the stage for an epic struggle between good and evil. The Sisters of Earth had become a part of the Sisters of the Fang, their combined power a beacon of hope for the town of Dedham. And though they knew the road ahead was fraught with peril, they stood ready. Their bond, their shared heritage, and their unwavering courage were their greatest weapons in the fight against the demon. As the first rays of a new dawn broke over the horizon, Molly looked up at the sky. She was ready. The battle had just begun. Hey everyone! Welcome to our channel. We're so excited to have you here and share our content with you. If you're new here, make sure to click that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next video.